G'day everyone, we are counting down the top 10 grand finals of the AFL era 1990 to the present day. We're down to number 2 now, and a lot of people would have this selection at number 1, and I've got to be honest, it was a line ball for me as well. We're talking about 2018 and West Coast's premiership win over Collingwood in an absolutely epic game of football with a suitably dramatic finish. Well, Collingwood had run West Coast pretty close in the qualifying final over in Perth, managed to beat GWS in a semi-final, and then shocked hot premiership favourite Richmond in the preliminary final. They did a number on the Tigers that night to get into another grand final. West Coast, meanwhile, had had a crushing preliminary final win over Melbourne at home and went into this game deservedly favourites, even though playing away from home, and the MCG, of course, giving Collingwood a decent sort of advantage on the home crowd front. The Pies started this game with an absolute bang. Travis Varco ran into an open goal. A couple of costly West Coast mistakes allowed them to enable Collingwood to capitalise on that advantage further. Jaden Stevenson, a youngster playing in his first season of AFL footy, he certainly wasn't worried by grand final nerves. He kicked 2 in a row. Jordan De Goey, another youngster starring for Collingwood early, snapped a fantastic goal across his shoulder. And by the time Will Hoskin-Elliott added a 5th, it was 5 goals to nothing. The Eagles, if they were going to win, having to overcome the biggest deficit by any grand final winner seen since Essendon had overturned a 32-point margin against Hawthorn all the way back in 1984. The Eagles, though, they really found some resilience in this game, dug in, got a bit lucky with a goal to Willie Rioli, which basically bounced off his shin. And then Josh Kennedy, who'd play a major part in this game, bobbed up with his first of a day too. The margin at quarter time back to 17 points the Pies' way. The Eagles really started to take over dominance in the middle of the ground. Luke Shuey playing an outstanding game for the Eagles. Jordan De Goey bobbed up for the Pies again with a goal to get it back to around the 4-goal mark. But then a couple of Eagles bobbed up. Mark Hutchings, who played a supreme defensive tagging role on Steele Sidebottom in this game, he strolled into an open goal after a handball from Mark Lacroix. And then Luke Shuey, just getting better and better, snapped a really nice goal from the pocket. And the Eagles by then had kicked 4 of the last 5 goals, 12 points the difference at halftime, with West Coast coming hard. Anything possible in the second half. The Eagles really took over in general play after that, but they then had difficulties converting their opportunities, missing a few chances. Jack Darling was one player who really emerged after halftime for them. Played a poor first half, but a fantastic third quarter. Took 6 marks alone in that third term. Kicked an important goal. Jamie Cripps kicked another one for the Eagles. And now Collingwood were looking in a bit of strife. And a bit of bad luck for the Pies too. A clearing kick from Taylor Adams, the Collingwood runner, unfortunately getting in the way of Jaden Stevenson. Elliot Yeo marking for the Eagles and dobbing a long roost from outside 50 home. And that gave West Coast the lead for the first time all day. At three-quarter time, scores were dead level. Everyone was biting their nails wondering which way this game was going to go. Collingwood got off to a flyer again in the last quarter. In fact, they had 2 goals up in about 2 minutes. Brodie Myercheck got the first, reading the crumbs well off a pack and snapping over the shoulder. And then from the very next centre bounce, Jordan De Goey got on the end of the clearance and banged one from well outside 50. Collingwood again, 2 goals to the good. But it didn't last for long. From the third centre bounce of the final term, West Coast won the clearance. Nathan Vardy took a strong mark and he converted back to a goal now. What was going to happen from there, who knew? Mason Cox bobbed up. He'd had a strong second half and presented a real marking target for the Pies. He now restored Collingwood's 11-point lead. Josh Kennedy soon reversed that, the Eagle bobbing up with his 3rd goal for the game. And then the Eagles missed a couple of chances to seize the lead for a final time. Liam Ryan, believe it or not, hit the post twice in a couple of minutes with 2 set shots. Chris Marston missed another one, and thus his chance of glory. And with 2.5 minutes remaining, Collingwood still led this game by 2 points. And the scene was set for what, even after 2 years, is a bit of play that has already entered footy folklore and will only get told and replayed a lot more as the years go by. Collingwood attacked, possibly for the last time. West Coast defender Jeremy McGovern took a calculated gamble, left his man and soared over the top to take a great mark. He went inboard to Nathan Vardy, who got on the end of that pass. He went out to a flank where Liam Ryan soared to take another incredible mark at any time, let alone with a couple of minutes remaining in a grand final. And his little chip into the forward pocket found Dom Sheed. Now, a bit of controversy here. Was Braden Maynard, Collingwood defender, illegally held out or shepherded out from the contest by Willie Rioli? Well, Collingwood fans, of course, will argue forever that that was the case, but it wasn't paid. Dom Sheed went back and was on a particularly tight angle, not much daylight between the goalposts, but with under 2 minutes remaining, he threaded the goal. If there's been a cooler shot in a pressure situation taken in footy history, I can't immediately think of it. By the time the goal umpire gave the all clear, the Eagles led for the final time. There was 1:45 remaining on the clock. That wound down, not without more drama. Jack Darling dropped a sitter of a mark in the goal square and the chance to sew it up once and for all. The ball in West Coast forward line when the siren rang out. Collingwood once again losing heartbreakingly a grand final. It had led for probably 90% of the afternoon, but a heroic effort from West Coast and winning their 4th AFL Premiership in an absolutely epic game of football that will never be forgotten. Let's check the scores. 3 goals to Josh Kennedy for the Eagles, their only multiple goal kicker. 3 goals to Jordan De Goey for the Pies. Terrific game from the youngster. 2 to Mason Cox and 2 to debutant in 2018, Jaden Stevenson. Best players on the ground, well, Luke Shuey, this was one of the great Norm Smith medal performances. 34 disposals he had for the Eagles, really led from the front. Dom Sheed, as well as that match-winning goal, for which he'll forever be remembered, also played a good game all day. In defence, Tom Barrass, a really good game for the Eagles. Kennedy up forward, always the target, and Hutchings, like I said, a terrific shutdown role on Steele's side bottom. For the Pies, well, Taylor Adams kept at it all day in midfield. Tom Langdon, good in defence. Ditto, Jack Crisp. And Adam Treloar won plenty of the ball. De Goey up forward too, always a target and kicking 3 goals for the Pies. An absolute ripping game of footy. One of the famous grand finals already. And like I said, as time goes on, I think it will certainly be replayed endlessly, much to the delight of West Coast supporters and the heartbreak of Pies. Sorry, Pie fans, I know you do feature a lot in these great grand finals, unfortunately, usually on the wrong end. That is number 2 in the top 10 AFL Grand Final countdown. What will be number 1? Join us back here shortly to find out.